This is gonna be something special for you guys, especially for people who usually work with commercial softwares. There's a lot of people just trying to find a way just to start create their own art without any concern about paying a commercial software. So I'm gonna start just showing you, especially for those people who wants to know how to approach to the material area and shading. So this is Blender 4.2 is the new release that they just recently released like 2 weeks ago if I'm not wrong. So we're gonna cover some specific basic things about materials in order just to understand just the basis. So first of all is, as you can see here in the image, I have my viewport in here with a testing ball. And the thing is this: most of the time, people is just worry about materials because they think that they will not um, cover the main basics and the main principles for shading in Blender. So that's incorrect. So Blender is a very powerful software, especially for shading and surfacing. So it has a pretty good shaders in there, like the principal material, the BSDF, that it was created by Blender Foundation and Pixar, if I'm not wrong. So it has it's kind of like a Uber material. It's really good to approach many things. I think it can cover everything. You can create skin. You can create any kind of substance with the principal BFDS. So most of the time, people wants to know how to start just look dabbing in how things are gonna approach to the final result of the product. So first of all, this is the first look that we have on the material. So as you can see here in my right side, I have the principal BFDS. So we have some slots in here. So this is the slots that contain it can this one contains the slots for this shape, for this object. So if we click the background, is gonna have the other material with other slots, so we can have many in multiple slots with different materials, creating more complex shaders for a project. So in this case, the slots, you can add more slots in here in the plus, and we have a minus icon in here to remove the slots. So we have a small preview in here. So as many people knows, in every software, it doesn't matter is Maya, Blender, it doesn't matter. Don't try to see the preview in real time because it's gonna consume so much memory in there. So most of the time I prefer just to see here in the viewport in real time the render, because I don't know why Blender Foundation doesn't give you the option just to choose in Eevee here or Cycles Render Engine. So I'm gonna just close in here and avoid cache memory. So as you can see here, so I have only one slot, so we can add more slots. These are gonna be empty, so you can just start just adding new slot, a new material in these slots. So but in this case we're gonna just rid of them. So we're gonna just use these guys. So I'm gonna put this one base underscore n. So by default we have the principal BSDF already assigned to this base. So originally, um, we have to understand one thing. So the surface of a shader contains a lot of information that is based on the physics. So the surface is going to contain color, is going to contain uh, the electric information, like metallic and roughness and things like that. So we have metallic or metal. We have the roughness for the specular, and we have intercell refraction. This is going to be used for transmission materials like glass, plastic, and things like that. So we also have an alpha in here, and we have a normal to connect textures for normal mapping and things like that. We have a socket with subsurface scattering with different properties. We have the Christensen-Burley, and we have the random walk, and we have random walk for skin specifically. So we have a lot of properties in here that many people is just gonna run crazy, that saying what is this, what is that. So first of all, understand that we have a lot of things just to analyze in a basic perspective of view. So we have sliders in here, but also we have containers with RGB information like color and normal. So when we have these kind of sliders, like weight is this is gonna be like the how much influence is gonna affect um, on the effect of the subsurface scattering on the SSS. So the scale is gonna be the propagation, how scalable is gonna be the propagation on the surface, and how thick is gonna be in there. So the radius contains the RGB information. This is red, this is green, and this is blue information. As you know, in SSS, we have on skin we have some translucency at some point, so we can use this surface scattering option for candles, for skin, for some specific plastics with translucency, and many other things. We have some anisotropic things for some type of skin. People with a very white skin, sometimes they reflect in a very different way than people with a different color of skin. So we have a specular that is based on index of refraction level. We have the tint for that specular, and also we have an isotropic in basic just to make like industrial steel, some specific iron, um, metal brush, and things like that. So we have the rotation of this anisotropic, and we're just going back and forward with this. So transmission specifically is for objects that you want to make like glass, translucid objects like plastics, some specific plastics. So we have only a one slider with value from 0 to 1, like the weight in subsurface scattering. So also we have the code. Code is a very special property. Is a secondary reflection for metals, for paint, car, and things like that. So we have how much influence, and we can manage the roughness of these reflections, and we can manage also the index of refraction, how the refractions are going to bounce in there. But also we can just play with the tint color. One good example is going to be the cars and things like that, like satins and fabric satins and things like that. We have sheen. Sheen. This is one of the coolest thing that Blender Foundation just recently added. The sheen effect is if you have seen like a velvet effect in velvet fabric, so you can see um, special light that is gonna bounce where the camera is just sending the rays directly in there. So it's like a special layer of light that is bouncing just in the normals in there. This is pretty good for metals, for paint metal effect, for fabric, for many other things, especially for cartoon characters for the skin. This is really good. And finally, we have these two options. So I'm gonna jump into this one. So emission, emissive, we can produce a lot of lights, emissive information in here. So the only thing that you need to be concerned about is that you will not have control on the shadows when you are using emission from the shader. So we have strength, we have the color, sorry, and finally we have the thin film. This is for producing like that multicolor that we have in the bubbles. So personally, I I have to be honest, it's not bad. It depends. Everybody has different likes. Like in my case, for example, I don't like to use this one. I prefer to use more something a little bit more. I need to. I prefer to have control on the nodes, so I don't use this. And also we have some other options like volumes to create like smokes, explosions, and things like that. We have the section for displacement. We have thickness, and we have many other options that Blender Foundation just recently add. In my case, I add a lot of options because I just add more add-ins than usual. So we will not pay attention on everything right now, so it's just the basics. So first of all, if you just want to start just playing with this just in basic shape, so let's just start just working in this. Let me just um, project what I am clicking in here because it's gonna be easier for you guys. So let me see. Okay, there you go. Yes. Let me see if I can move the in the right side. Okay, this is pretty good actually. I like this. It's gonna be really good. Let me see. Yes, there it is. I like this. So as you can see here, you can see what I am clicking in here. I don't want to put it in here because when I start just moving here, it's gonna open this extra window with some properties in there. So I cannot remove it all of it. And yeah, let's just continue. So in my personal opinion, for example, where can I find? Okay, where can we find the shader properties and the materials in here? So as you can see here, each window has this small tab in here where you can find the viewport, the image editor, UV editor, etc, etc, etc. So in my case, I have one window, two, three, and four. So I have my outliner in here, so you can change it in the way that you like, you prefer. In my personal opinion, I like my outliner in here, and downstairs I put my properties. These properties is just data block. So generally you're gonna find the render settings in here, um, the format, render passes or AUVs, however you want to call it. This is the properties of the scene, the properties for the word. I mean the HDRs, XSRs, collections. Collections are pretty important for us, and we have the object data, we have modifiers, we have particles, we have physics, we have constraints, and we have the data of the object in properties. This is not the same like this one. So this one is gonna be a little bit more like the technical stuff, and this is gonna be more the mathematical stuff just for transformations. And downstairs, as you can see, there's a red ball in here. It says material and properties, and then textures. So just click the material and then you're gonna find all of this. Personally, I like to have the materials in here, but also in here I already have my UV editor, but I love to change, sometimes going back and forward between the UV editor and shader editor. So I love to work on nodes. It's I really do like it because it's a little bit more flexible. We have more flexibility in here. We're more versatile because we will be able to see how the things are going to be connected. So let's just um, close all of these tabs. This is how the material looks connected. So what do we have to understand here is we have the principal BFDS that is connected to the output of the material information, that is the surface, I mean this, and also we can connect it and transform it as a volume or displacement or thickness. So how can we start just watching the information in render? So you have different options. In my case, I already have set up my Blender since a long time ago. So I just migrate my settings from the previous Blender into this new version. So I just click Z, and then you're gonna have the pie menu for the visualization of render and other things. So we have wireframe, we have material preview, and we have render, and we have shape flat and shape smooth. So in my case, because I already brought with me the XSR 32 bits, so I'm gonna just render in real time. And as you can see, we're able to see a material with the information that we already have in here. So we have the roughness in 0.351. So what happened? Let's just start from the top to the bottom. So the color is just moving here. One good recommendation in here is just take in mind, don't use 100%, don't use 100% or pure one saturation information or pure value. Don't use 100% whites, don't use 100% black. This is something that it can cause a lot of trouble when we're working on post-production with compers. Compers are going to be a little bit angry when you send something like this with these values. So they're going to be able to change things in comp with AUVs and AUV masks. So we can produce like RGB masks in there, and we can isolate many things in order just to change colors or other information. So as you can see here, we have hue, saturation, and value, or there's people who prefer to use only formula. So I don't use formula. I prefer to use hue, saturation, and value, because with this chromatic circle, I can choose the color. I can see, okay, I want this kind of green, but let's just reduce 0.9 in 0.8, and then we can just start playing. So I know that people is gonna tell me I want this green. Yeah, but that's at some point is not correct. So just think about it. If we can be able to change this in comp, so we're gonna have a margin of error if we don't exaggerate the values. So then, just to understand, so you can just change the colors in here, any color you want. I don't know, in this case, for example, let's just use this kind of orange in here. This is alright. And the next slider is gonna be metallic, so you can increase the metallic option. The values are gonna be from 0 to 1. There's no 0 to 100. This is 0 to 1 is a little bit more understandable. So this is gonna be to start just doing your dielectric information. So you can just start playing in here like 0.5 and have some like plasticky metallic, or produce like ribbon look in here. Also, the next one is gonna be roughness. This is gonna be how rough is gonna be your speculars in here. So right now we have like 30%, 0.3. If we reduce to 0, we're gonna have something pretty glossy, pretty shiny and reflective. But if we start just increasing, it's gonna get a little bit blurry like this. So until if you put like 100% one, it's gonna be 100% mate, opaque. So most of the time I just put 0.8, and this is gonna give me something a little bit more flexible to work on it. So the index of refraction is gonna manage the refraction on the specular, reflection and transmission. Is gonna handle everything at the same time, like real life. I know, I know that in Arnold or other render softwares, we have the IR independently, but in real life, we can just use one thing, one emissive energy um, emitter to produce the index of refraction. So in this kind of case, for example, if we reduce this to 1, it's gonna be really mate. If we increase it, it's gonna get a little bit more plasticky and fake. So we're gonna have something like this, a little bit more chromy. So this kind of information is pretty good to start just working for a different project, like I don't know, possibly a very metallic car in here. The alpha, the alpha is a little bit special, guys. It's a little bit tricky because this this setting in the previous version was not working properly. In here I can see it works really nice, just fade very smoothly. For example, you can produce like making balloons with this effect, and it's gonna give you a pretty nice and good result, something like this. And this is a look for like a balloon. I like it personally, have to be honest. So we can have some different kind of effects like this. So I'm just gonna put it back in 100% solid. So the next thing that we are going to see is gonna be the subsurface scattering. This is pretty special. I need lights for this because commonly to use subsurface scattering we need some information with some light in there. I mean, the HDR is just producing information, but not enough to like a light to understand how the things are working with the subsurface. Let's just put in the back this information, and then we're gonna put the weight until 100%. So let's just wait just a little bit. It's because it's making the calculations right now. So as you can see here, if we just start just doing this, we're gonna be able to see the scattering in these areas, in the thickest area. So we can just start increasing the scale to make it, to propagate this effect a little bit more. So as you can see here, is really cool, the effect of scattering here in Blender, in specifically in Eevee Next. Eevee Next is really cool. So we want more red in here, so we can screen increase like 2.8, 0.5, and we're gonna have this effect in here right now. So this is the subsurface scattering, just in order just to make you understand how it works. So for skin, so we can just do something a little bit more like this, and not so much scale, like 0.5 or something, like for and 1 here or 4. It depends what production needs in this. So let's just increase this value. And the other thing is this. So this is the primary look, but we can also just activate to make it a little bit more realistic in here. the settings. So let's just activate, if I'm not mistaken, the ray trace transmission. Okay, there you go. And so as you can see here, we can just start just playing with this, like putting more value in here, like 16 or something. You can see a little bit reddish color in there, like propagating more information for this guy. Oh, it's doing it in the ground. So let me just change it here. Okay, you see here, and yeah, there you go. We have this information. You can just make something like this, and this is gonna give us more margin of error, just to have properly. I'm so sorry about the mistake before. So we can just start just playing with this, just to have something a little bit more interesting. So this is how we produce like something, a pretty base skin material. Then you can just start adding more textures in here, so we will now cover in this section. So let's just turn that off, and let's just put it back like the, this color. Let's just go back to the basics. So the next one is going to be the specular. The specular is going to be all the highlights that we have produced by the HDR and this guy in here. So we can change that color, as you can see here, but also we can just increase or decrease the powerful the power of the index of refraction of the specular in here. So we can produce something a little bit more maze, something a little bit more plasticky. So let's just understand that this is something uh, pretty basic. So the anisotropic is just for the effect in here. So let's just rip it up, increase a little bit the metallic. Let's see how the anisotropic works in here. Let's just, oh, I remember one thing. So with Eevee it doesn't work, so we need to change into cycles. Let's just wait a little bit. 0.74. Let's just change for basic basic settings in here. I'm just gonna use the GPU. So we have this. Let's just put pretty soft shadow in here. There you go. Alright, so as you can see here, the anisotropic, if I just decrease it, so check how the highlights behave when I just start increase it. So they just start just turning around, going with the flow with the normals. So we can just start just playing with the information. I'm so sorry about that, guys. Sorry, what's my water bottle? And this is for rotate the effect of the anisotropic in here. So this is pretty cool because you can manage any result in here in any way you need. So for example, very 100% metallic, like some polish copper in there, so we can do that, or something like this. So you don't have to you don't have to worry about the real-time render. So in the case of cycles is pretty good actually if you have a pretty good GPU. So I have a RTX. I will not promote models in here, so I have a pretty good one. And you can see here in the specular, so you can just start just playing with this, going back and forward, whatever you want to need. For example, to make like some steel, we can just go back in black and white. just make very dark, um, pretty dark metal in here, so that's not a big deal. Let's just do something like this. We have some information like this. Let's just activate the denoise in real time. Let's just put 32. Let's just uh, balance is alright. This is alright, and this open image denoiser. So just to have something final in here. So as you can see here, the results are pretty good, pretty fast. I don't have any trouble. The metal looks a little bit more like steel, brushed steel. So we have multiple options. We have different filters in here, or distribution filters. We have GGX and multi-scatter GGX. So each one is gonna give you pretty tiny differences in there. So it's just have to start moving what you need specifically for this. So let's just go back to the basics again. Let's just reduce this. Just put these values. Let's just put this color again. So with this, what's next? Next is gonna be transmission. This is gonna be the most fun part because people love glass and crystals. So in order just to make a pretty basic crystal in here is, first of all, crystals have pretty tiny roughness, not so much. And then we can just start increasing the value in here. So you're gonna be able to see how it's changing this information more and more. It's giving me a little bit more like crystally stuff in here. So if we put it like 100%, we're gonna have something like this. So as you can see here is caustics are working right now, even if I don't activate them, but they're just working in there. Is the blading color option in there. So as you can see here is working pretty nice. This is a very dark glass. It's because originally glass has a value of 100%, but in our case, to avoid problems with comp, we're gonna put like 0.8 111 or 0.9 0.95, and we're gonna have something like this, guys. So this is looking pretty cool already. So as you can see, the information is working really good. We don't have any troubles just to start working like this. um, if you want to have something pretty um, sharpy, so just reduce the roughness 100%. If you want to have something a little bit more like cigarette stands, just to put the ashes, is something like this, like amber 2, different kind of indifferent refractions. For example, if I put 1.23, this is almost like the water refraction. So if we put like 2.64 is the diamond. This is for diamonds and juggles and gems refractions. So it depends what you need. For example, I'm gonna change this into red color, a little bit more dark, something like this, and you can see in this section that we're having something like I don't know, possibly a ruby or something like that. Let's just decrease this like 1.84. It's gonna look much better. Let's just change it to make some emerald, something a little bit like this. Pretty dark color in here, but this is looking really nice, as you can see here. So first of all, I don't speak about my PC specs. I don't like to do that because I have been working for a long time. Um, with a very basic PC in the past. This is a new one. This is I'm gonna say it. Okay, this is Rostrix, Asus ROG Strix, um, and I have two video cards external. I don't want to promote anything because I don't have any advertising here. Um, this is just for education. So I have pretty good RAM in here, 64 gigabytes. I have like, I don't know, possibly like 10 terabytes of hard drive. And well, going back to the basis, so mainly we're covering just the basic of the most basics for materials. So the next one is gonna be code. Let me just go back to the basics in here because we're gonna just go back for transmission. So I'm just gonna leave this color in here, so that's alright for me. 1.5. So we have this plastic in here. Let's just go to the next one. This is the code one. So the code one is like a secondary mask of reflection in here. So let's just watch the borders in here, how they're gonna change. So you can see there's like a reflection just in the borders in here. So we can just start increasing. It's like an extra layer of reflections. It's more for, how to say, like oil painting. And this is pretty basic, so you can just change the index of refraction, and you can have something like this, like marble and things like that. um, you can use it in different ways, like I don't know, possibly like oil paint for bottles, for many different things. And the next thing is gonna be the sheen. The sheen is really nice. It's gonna be around where the camera is just looking first in the borders of the eye. So the information is gonna be something like this. It's gonna be like this kind of haze of light in there. You can just use um, the roughness just to increase and decrease how the propagation is going to be. You can change the color, use the color psychology in here. For example, if you have green, you can just put something like this. It depends what you're working in there. So for example, let's just use something like this. Let's just put something a little bit more like this, and let's just change it for some blue in here. So you're gonna be able to see the contrast, and you're gonna be able to see the background and the shape in here. So, and the next one I need to kill many things in here. So first of all, when you're working with emissives in here, so emissive is gonna kill speculars, is gonna kill metallic information, subsurface speculars, blah 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 blah. So emissives is just an object that it's producing energy, radiation, is propagating radiation. So in this kind of case, it doesn't matter what I have in here. If I just start putting strength like 1, it's just gonna start just killing all the information in here. So we can just start just putting information in here, increasing like 4, and then you have something like this. If you increase the roughness, so you're gonna have something like this. My logic says if we have something like this, we're gonna have the same color here in the emission, and we're gonna have the same color in here. So I'm gonna copy this guy, Control C, then Control V in here. So we're gonna have something like this. This is really really cool, especially when you're doing candles and many other things. um, you can do fire with this, but you need to be very careful when you're doing fire with emissives, because um, it's gonna start killing the information of your textures when you plug them in there. So just take in mind that. And yeah, and that's it, guys. I will not cover teen film. This is something that I haven't experimented yet. I prefer to do the teen film in my own uh, way. I prefer just to use different notes just to produce that stuff for the bubbles. And yeah, and that's it, guys. And thank you very much for watching. This is just the basic, guys. I'm just give you a small very fast review. So as you can see here, we can manage the main color, we can manage metallic results, we can manage the speculators, how sharp they are or how blurry they are, the index of refraction information for transmission and other things. We have we're able to do um, like skin, wax, and things like that. Uh, we can manage the specular. We have different filters for distribution. We can change the color of the specular. That's not a big deal. Um, and what else? The sheen information, something like this. And you can see transmission. We have already done some transmission information. When you use transmission, you need to turn off the metallic. The metallic is gonna kill all the information in there. You can add some metallic in there, but not so much, in order just to have some um, a little bit. There's some glass with a metallic aspects and settings in there, but not always in there. Something like this. Let's just reduce the roughness in here. So we have something like this. There you go. We can change the colors for glasses, etc. We can do eyes and many other things. And yeah, guys, I think this is it just for the basics. And next time um, I'm gonna show you how to connect and how to um, use textures to distort the information of each of these settings that we already have in here. Thank you very much, and see you next, guys.